I mean, this watch I'm wearing looks like a rollie. Not a rollie. $8.
40% of our customers know about us for greater than 6 months before purchasing. Consumers want to connect with the brands they purchase from. And the best way to do that is...
This year, I made a mistake. I had to do my first layoff ever. It was surely because I miscalculated things. I let my team down. Because of that, A
lot of times, right, we wait for perfection as a brand or as a creator where we're not going to post this, I don't know how someone's going to feel about this, where volume of output actually increases the quality of the output. It's just most people think it's the opposite. Most people think I have to wait for a piece of quality content to go out.
You got to make threats to get people to come over here. If you want to come back to this event, you'll come sit down. I know a guy that can make that happen.
10-second timer.
All right, let's go ahead and kick this thing off, guys. How you feeling, guys?
Good.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah, everyone feeling good? How was lunch? Yeah? Good lunch? I know that's important. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it off. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talk a lot. eCom is the path that we walk a lot. From 4 point of views when we're talking shop.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the ASOM Pod, a show about perspective from the eyes of an agency, SaaS operator, and a marketer focused on D2C, e-commerce, and the retail space. With over 55 years of combined business experience, founding over 12 different companies, we're excited to bring you this episode. So I'm going to go around here, and I'm going to introduce everyone first. So I've got John Roman, the Android-loving. He's the co-founder and CEO of BattlBox. Welcome, John.
Thanks.
All right, then we got Amer. Amer is the guy he's formerly known as the Prince of Bosnia. He's also the CEO of Praella, a leading branding agency. And then I've got Bryan MacDonald down there. He's the self-proclaimed funniest dude on LinkedIn. He might have came by and asked you how much his shoes were. How much are their shoes?
$11, Temu.
Yes, he's really proud of that, and you should know that. He bought them off Temu. So he's really proud. But guys, today, I have a very special pod today because we wanted to come up with something that would be really fun. And the topic today is, should we remove the E from e-commerce? That's the topic today, because we believe that we're starting to see a change in the world. Advertising costs are going up, cost of goods, viral creation. We're talking retail, we're talking different things that are happening right now, and it's starting to question, is e-commerce a channel, or are we really doing is commerce? Right? We're thinking about the world in a different way, and I think we're seeing the future. Even Shopify, for example, they went from e-commerce to unified commerce. That's their message now today. So if you start thinking about that, you start wondering, is that the future? Is the future changing? So now, we couldn't just come up here and just do a pod because that would be boring. So we thought we'd bring back a really fun game. How many people have heard of the game Hot or Not before? You guys remember this? Yes, we got some people coming up. So we thought it'd be really fun to play our own version of Hot or Not, D2C version of Hot or Not. So I've got some slides here. So let's bring it up here. Here we go, guys. First topic here, guys. We're gonna go through here. John, let's start with the audience here. All right, we're gonna start. Retail, hot or not? Hot? Raise hand.
Raise your hand for hot.
Hot? Not.
Raise your hand for not.
Oh, we got a couple nots. I love it.
Oh,
this is
love
great.
it. Good split room, actually.
I am excited to give this to John first because he has a spicy hot take on this. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you kick it off.
Yeah, thank you. So, we launched BattlBox in 2015. And if you would have asked me what our retail strategy was then, all of a sudden we're talking about how important retail is. And now we're a couple years into that, and you've seen a lot of brands have success with retail. And the elephant in the room that no one's talking about is the amount of cash it sucks out of your business. And while it's beneficial, you have to be built for it, right? You have to have the cash flow to do it. And you're seeing a lot of, in the last couple of weeks, there's rumors of Michael's having financial trouble. Big Lots went bankrupt. And, you might have a $100,000 PO with Big Lots. Now you're not gonna get that. And I think you have to be, I put it probably like at a 6 or a 7 on the hot scale. It's definitely a path, but I think you'd be a little more strategic with it. You have to pick the right retailers, and it's not just the model everyone was going for maybe a couple years ago. Well, it's like, let's get everywhere. I think you'd be very, very smart with it because you can get, stuck holding the bag.
Yeah. But now you look at retail and you see things like Dollar General and their stocks ripping, they're doing more profit than ever. What's changing here? I mean, I'm gonna go down over to Bryan. I mean, what do you think about retail? Because you have a retail storefront and you have an e-commerce channel, and you can share what you do.
Yeah, so we're a 4th generation family owned and operated raw pet food company. So we own our own USDA kitchen and facility. We manufacture, we procure raw materials from farms all across the country, and then we manufacture our own recipes. So we have 125 SKUs, 80 of them are frozen, 60 of them are recipe based. We procure procure over 450 raw materials across the United States. So we're in control of our production and fulfillment, which I think is crucial when you go into retail, thinking of your supply chain along with cash flow. And that was one thing that, we were excited to get into independent pet retail space. So not going after big box, but there's, 4,000 smaller independent pet stores. So we go through a distribution company in order to make that happen. But the most crucial piece of it is understanding where your customers buy and being available and not necessarily where you want them to buy. So dependent upon your situation with not only cash, but your actual inventory control, if you're in charge of that process from A to Z, you have the operating cash flow, you have to be available where your customers are purchasing instead of where you want them to purchase. And that's like our whole thing that we're going through now. So we're about 18 months in the retail game. We're in 1,000 stores across the United States. We have our own retail store as well. So it's just that availability now of our product in the marketplace where our customers are purchasing and having that be a part of our acceleration growth brand channel that's going to really amplify that small family business and put it in as many bowls as possible.
Yeah. Amer, you're now, as the CEO of Praella, you guys are a design agency. Retail means that you're not doing their work, you're doing the e-commerce side. So what's your take on this? What are you saying?
I'm big on something that John hates, and it's omni-channel. I think...
I don't hate it. I just hate the word.
You hate the word.
Yeah, the word, but I'm using the word in its true sense in omni-channel is because we saw what pandemic did. Pandemic gave us this false sense of security for e-commerce, where we thought e-commerce was going to just go bazonk with everything, and it didn't. Once things started to calm down after the pandemic, people started to go back to physical locations. One of the things we saw on the agency side, more and more brands and consumers are asking for buy online, pick up in store. So that has expedited tremendously, and we're seeing probably compared to 3-4 years ago, 10 to 15% of merchants that we talk to, whether we work or not with them, they want that functionality at the checkout. So I think it's going to continue. My background is in big retail. Before I got into e-commerce, I worked for JCPenney, who's no longer in business, for Target. So I'm never going to turn my back on retail, and I always encourage brands when they have the opportunity to test out waters with big stores if they have the opportunity to. And I know Bryan has, and we had a couple of other merchants that have their own stores as well. And there's a trend of those 2010 brands that kind of grew up with Facebook in the early days. Everyone said we're going to be e-commerce first. We're never going to go brick and mortar. Yeah. Untuckit, all of these other companies, everyone now has a storefront, and there's a reason for it.
Sure. Yep.
People want it, and we need to give it to them.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great. That's a great point too. So let's move to the next topic because I think it relates to it. Now we're going to take the opposite approach here. Oops. Drop shipping, hot or not? Right? So this is another one. I think this is going to be an interesting take, but drop shipping hot. Got a couple people
Wow.
not. All right. We got some people here. All right, Bryan, I think you've got some, as a man who's wearing $11 shoes right now.
Yeah.
We want to know your take on drop shipping right now.
Yeah, obviously I'm not a fan of drop shipping because I just bought about 9 of these pairs. I spin the wheel pretty much every morning on Temu for the opportunity to get these. But essentially what happened, we talked about it in a recent podcast, is the drop shipping bro days, I call them, right? Where your 20-year-olds on social media would, be making 10, 20, $30 million hand over fist on procuring materials from China, for example, slapping a logo, getting a branded box, mailer, and 2, 3, 4xing that product costs. Those days are over pretty much forever. And what we're finding out, these shoes I'm wearing,
Jesus,
who lets this?
We need a table, buddy.
So,
Wow.
So these shoes here were $11. Okay. These blow a lot of the shoes that I spend $100, $120 on out of the water, but these don't have a logo on them. Now, granted, there's some stuff I've purchased on Temu that hasn't been great. However, what we're seeing now, right, is we're cutting out the middleman, which used to be drop shipping, right? So we used to have folks that would procure products from overseas at a $7, $8 cost, slap their logo, create a fake brand around it, pump paid dollars on Facebook or Instagram, whatever the case may be, and sell it $39.95, $49.95 online. Those days are over for good. They're never coming back. And China's going to keep taking away the middleman, for an example, and we're moving away from that, and brands, companies like Temu are exposing that. And I've pretty much, this watch I'm wearing looks like a Rolly, not a Rolly. $8. $8. Now, granted, 2 of the knobs, so let me take it off really quick. The knobs here fell off. However, it's a functional watch. and it was $8 because I spun the wheel that morning and I hit 40%. But the moral of the story, big takeaway, is the dropshipping world is over. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we can follow this. And anyone else have a take on dropshipping?
I had a lot better.
What?
Taylor Holiday stole all my slides before.
Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line of what you would buy or spin, sir? Where do you draw the line?
What was that?
Where would you draw the line of what you would or wouldn't take off of Temu?
Oh, I'll buy anything off Temu. Anything. And believe it or not, John's wife, who's actually here, the U.S. brand makes that stroller called Duna. It's $650 retail. She bought that on Temu for what was it, $190? It's the same stroller.
This is terrifying. Like, I want that.
It's the same stroller.
I'm trying to tell my wife this, and she's like, no, it's going to crumble in the car.
No,
I'm like,
dude,
babe,
I'm telling you.
same.
Yeah. He probably has something a lot more smarter than what I just said, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
So the interesting part for me is that dropshipping is a $280 billion market this year. It's going to go up to $350 billion next year. The problem, I think, for me is, and you guys know how opinionated I am on this, dropshipping is going away from the middleman in the United States to a more global, centralized location, China, and so on and so forth. That means more of our dollars are being exported and not being kept here, which ultimately hurts small businesses. I also think dropshipping is going to continue to grow with the Amazons of the world, the Wayfairs of the world. That is going to continue to go up. I don't think in today's market, with the acquisition costs, it is smart to enter the dropshipping business anymore because the margins are not there. And I read that 95% of net new brands or companies that start dropshipping fail within first 6 months.
It's super interesting. And you know what's interesting was when you guys say drop shipping and you think about Temu and the direct to consumer, I think about this different side of it, which is I think about, hey, is it an availability where BattlBox, for example, can sell another product that they don't have to inventorize today, that they can sell as a third-party partner, almost like an affiliate more, and you're drop shipping the product from their warehouse to your house. And that actually happens every day right now, right?
We do it. And, and that's the future of it. So the drop shipping, the days of drop shipping bros and get rich quick and we're going to build a Shopify site for you where you can drop ship. Those days are gone. But it's things like Shopify Collective where you're able to integrate with other Shopify stores, offer their products in your catalog. That's the future of it. It's not as attractive as it was in yesteryear, but that's where it's going to be.
No, I love that. All right, let's keep moving on. The next one we've got is EBITDA. That big fancy word. Hot EBITDA? Nobody likes EBITDA. Oh no, they got a lot of people. What about not? Who doesn't like EBITDA? Who doesn't want to get creative? Oh, a couple people. All right. All right. Amer, I'm going to you because your business operates on this as an agency. So let's talk about it first.
I mean, to me, it's everything. My biggest investment, I don't like to say expense, I like to say investment, is people. We have 125 people. So I need to make sure that the way I operate, I need to have at least 7 months of payroll in my bank account in order to make long-term decisions, long-term investments. As soon as I see that something is not trending positively, that can be anything from invoices coming in on time to net new projects, I start to position things differently and start to think about things differently. I have a financial meeting with our finance team every single week. And believe it or not, probably I'm in the bank account every single day through QuickBooks. I log in, I see what's going on. I am big on finances and everything that we do. I probably know, sadly, our finance numbers better than my finance team. I just have a huge pulse on it. Earlier this year, I made a mistake, and I shared this on one of the podcasts. I had to do my first layoff ever, and it was truly because I miscalculated things. I let my team down, and because of that, I hold myself to a much higher standard now, and I never want to repeat that miscalculation again.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, this is a total side note, but for those of you that don't know what EBITDA is, I guess a big thing I told you this morning, John, it's even before I tax dad ass. That's what it means.
It's not what it means.
No, I mean, that's just, we talked about it this morning. I just wanted to kind of clarify what it meant. But that's, no, that's not a question for me at all because I'm not, Adam controls all of that over at Almost.
So as a marketer, you're not thinking and talking about EBITDA and profit margins within your business? Oh,
yeah. I mean, for high level, yes, in regards to things that we've cut out this year, right? Where, especially now, we're in a time where we have to realize that a lot of money that is available for cash flow and to get us out of debt is actually cost not based on employee for us, right? These are all costs that we incur on dry ice, our package material. Like we had a 3PL that we just went out in Utah with. They were charging us, right? Family business, right? So I'm looking at everything. We're paying double for the amount of dry ice per pound as our 3PL's charging us. We're getting screwed over in our main fulfillment center. So we're cutting all of these costs now, and it freed up almost $1.5 million over the past 12 months between dry ice, packaging materials, all of these procurement costs for all of our raw materials. So all of this stuff I actually have control over in regards to profitability for the e-commerce sector of the business. And all of this we have quarterly meetings on with ownership, but I'm a big part in cutting costs, not with the employee side of it, but how I'm able to increase my costs on the e-com side of the business.
Sounds like you don't give yourself enough credit because, as you said, that question is not for you.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
You've done a lot. You shared a lot with us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm more than just a marketer in that aspect, which is kind of cool because I'm able to essentially be a part of this company where, we're manufacturing the product and I'm able to have directive on new product development, procurement costs, working with, hey, this guy that we're buying tripe from in Montana has been screwing us, but because he gives the family a turkey every Thanksgiving, so getting out of that mindset, freeing up a ton of cash, like over $1.5 million of cash for a small family business is a lot of money. And it's a lot of money that I think people take for granted, especially when you're starting out a business. Relationships tend to mean more than profit. That used to be the case. Now we're moving into a time when obviously cash isn't available. We're talking about the past 2 days here, how hard it is, to truly be profitable, which no one really likes to talk about. It's not like a big, your ex and LinkedIn bros, which I rip on all the time on LinkedIn. No one talks about profit. I can pump $2 million of money into Meta and I can turn this business into a $100 million company in 2 years, but we're not going to be profitable, right? So the profitability talk needs to occur more in our industry. And a big portion of that, especially these past 1 to 2 years, is about the relationships that you think are strong with decisions that impact your revenue and your profit ultimately, right? So taking a look at everything from who you order your mailers from. If you're a high volume business and you're getting them for 12 cents, they could be screwing you. You could be getting them for 8. Right? Or if for us, dry ice is a huge portion of it, our average shipping cost is like $28. So how do I take my $28 cost, shift it down to 22? Now it allows me to decrease my free shipping threshold or pass off more savings to a subscribe and save or a subscription customer. So having the capability and flexibility to be in control of everything that encapsulates your profitability on e-commerce and ultimately doing that so that way I can do what I love on the e-com side of the business in a more effective way.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it in the perspective of a brand. And okay, so you're a lifestyle, let's say you're just a lifestyle brand. You're not trying to build something and sell it. Well, profitability matters because it's a lifestyle brand and you want cash. Let's go to the other side of it where you're trying to build something to have an exit. I'm sorry, if you're a brand, the days are over of the possibility of getting a multiplier off revenue. There's a small unicorn chance if you get in mid 9 figures, you might find the Unilevers of the world that might purchase it based off something else. But I would say that's probably not likely at this point. Even the big, large companies are trying to be a little bit smart fiscally. And it's the baseline for your multiplier to have the exit. And I think there's this misconception a lot of times, and I think it's maybe bled in from the SaaS world, that we can spend, and not be profitable as a brand. And then we can just cut stuff back and everything's gonna be fine and we're gonna have all of a sudden this nice, 20% growth. The reality is, as you're building, it becomes very, very difficult to scale back portions and the business not crumble. So I think building it with that infrastructure where you're EBITDA positive from the jump, or at least close with a very clear path where it's not like, where it's just very clear and there's no misconception on how to get there, you have to be profitable. And it's the only way to get paid if you're a brand trying to exit.
Yeah, and I don't think the world has changed that much if you think about it. I think we had that little blip that occurred with COVID and the pandemic, but the reality is, when I look back at my brand, when I exited the brand, it was 18 months EBITDA. Right? That's what they cared about. And we didn't make any money, so how much money did I make? Not much, right? But the reality is that's what they valued at and that's what the market was paying for. I think the world's continuing to change, but we'll see what happens. All right, the next one I've got is community. Community, hot? All right, not? No one thinks community. Nobody. Maybe I thought I saw a hand. It's funny. So it was 2019. I was walking down New York. We were at a conference somewhere, and we're in Times Square. And Facebook at that time, they were still called Facebook, I think, and they were running these ads about the community, the future of community. And they're running these things about like, if you're a woodworker, this is where you meet the wood. And I said, that's so stupid. Why don't they just do what they're doing? Well, I was wrong. That's obviously very much. But they forecasted the future of it. And what we've seen over these last couple of years, especially, not only because of the pandemic and people getting closer, but we're seeing more and more brands lean into that world. I mean, John, like, you're a perfect person in this because you think about this every day because you are built on community.
Yeah, so we lead our business with two principles, which is content and community. So going back on what Jimmy said, you look at consumer behavior, and we'll look at two different charts. We'll look at the need-want scale, and depending on how far you are on the need versus the want, closer to the want, consumer behavior is very, very clear, and this isn't a novel idea. It's been moving this way for a while. And consumers want to identify and connect with their purchases, with the brands they purchase from. And the best way to do that is via community, whether it's, on X, like Nick building in public with Brez and walking through the entire journey. Breeze?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Brez, right?
They shouldn't have put
There's
that
no
little
accent
thing
mark
above
for a
that.
reason.
It's
You
confusing
need
like
everyone.
We're expensive. You gotta say it with like some accent.
Is it Breeze or Brez?
What do you want it to be?
To be honest with you, I like both. I think you can go with both.
Breezy Brez?
Just go with
Yeah.
It depends on how many you've had.
Depends on how
it's
many you
very
have.
true. And I had a few last time in Dallas, and let me tell you something.
All right.
Pretty
So-
good.
so-
Anyways, let's
Hold
get
on,
back on track.
We're coming back.
All right, so coming back, the reality is consumers want to connect, right? And whether it's building in public, whether it's having an actual community, maybe on Facebook, it's bringing value and connection to the consumers outside of the tangible product. And it's going to win every single time. And it's not a novel idea, but with how difficult cost of acquisition has gone up, and just CPMs, like, it's needed. It's what separates the winners from the losers.
It's your new retention and loyalty, essentially,
Correct.
right? Community is becoming that. Brian, with a localized community, I think that's really interesting because you have 40 years of retail localized space. Like, what is community like when you think about that side of things?
Yeah, so obviously the customer side of it, I don't want to beat a dead drum here, but I think something that's really cool, which a lot of people don't necessarily think about today, is utilizing your influencers and your affiliates, right? We're on the TikTok shop era where they're necessarily not people that believe in your brand. They're more so creators that do a great job of promoting your brand in a way that can be sold via a swipeable, consumable piece of content, right? Where we work with people that truly love and feed our food, and building the community with them, which I think is a pretty cool takeaway for folks, is something I never even really thought about until a year ago. So Nina, who's here somewhere, she's our social media influencer affiliate marketing director. And I went up to her I don't know, it's probably 6-7 months ago. And I said, hey, let's take all of our affiliates and let's create their own community where they can riff back and forth with you. If they have product questions, maybe one person posted something that another person had a question on. Let's do weekly and bi-weekly calls with our affiliates where they can ask us questions. And we're building this affiliate community of folks that truly love our product, so that way that can grow and expand, which in return now doesn't necessarily increase our customer base, but what it does is it increases our educational base. And that's the hardest part with our product in particular, or products that you have to educate the consumer on, is if you're able to build a community with your affiliates or your influencers, people that truly love your product, and build it in a way that is a community with them, but also has a direct line of communication with the company, it goes tenfold in return. And it's something that a lot of brands don't think about as an affiliate community with your
But the
company.
content is
It
probably
makes
so much better.
so much better, right? And now they're able to portray that a lot better, where it's hey, Christine, we love the video you did last week, but here's a few key points I think you missed. Or it could be a creative aspect, I'm very good at creatives, right? So it's how about you try this next time? I bet you're gonna get more engagement on it, right? I bet you're gonna reach more people on it. None of that's happening. It's the TikTok shop world now, where people don't even like your product. They just see an opportunity to make a piece of the pie, get a percentage. So they don't really truly love your product. They love making money off of your product.
Some do, though, and those are the ones that are the most
now,
successful.
Don't get me wrong, some do, but it's a monetary connection to the company. We're not building a monetary connection with the affiliate. We're building the actual true love
Fair
of the
point.
product.
Amer, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm going to address from the brand side and then from the agency side. We see that brands that have or invested time into building a community, they have the best retention. There is that marriage between the core beliefs of what the brand stands for and what the consumer wants out of them. The problem is I see with a lot of brands and entrepreneurs, it takes a lot of effort to do it. And I spoke at Sub Summit a couple of times, and I said that it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a community to build a brand.
Yep.
And when you can start having that organic vocalization of your brand amongst peers in that community, I think that's where we see the stickiness with a brand happen. For me, the inverse happened. The reason I'm here today, the reason I'm part of the ASOM Pod, the reason I have an agency is because of the ecosystem that we live in and the community that we have. Literally, like, I had strangers help me for absolutely no reason. I gave them zero value. I have merchants who believe in us for whatever reason. I'm grateful for it. But that also stems from me participating in a community that I'm lucky enough to be part of. And now I'm in a position, hopefully, to return back to the next generation of agency owners or brands or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, that's a good call. Just talking about community. I was talking about brand, but like, this is a community.
Yeah.
True.
This is a community, and this is the community hack that can kind of take the people to the next level, which is pretty cool.
That's correct. And I think that it goes across everywhere. I think people are looking for different ways outside of the typical transactional nature. They're trying to create brand, and brand has become part of community these days. I mean, that's really what I think about when I see this.
I was in a deep conversation with a couple of starter brands, and Kevin from Beachly, who's over there, he was there, and he started sharing his experiences with them. And that's invaluable. We work with Ryan from Creators Combine. It's a wonderful community as well, where people unselfishly just share ideas to see other people succeed.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful, rewarding thing to be part
Yeah,
of.
everybody can win and nobody has to lose. That's
Yeah.
the mentality.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That leads us to the last one here, which is content. We're talking about organic content. Hot? Not? All right, we got conflicting here. I feel like some people are just conflicting just to conflict.
Probably.
Looking around. All right, what do we got? Organic content. Okay, so let me set the stage for you a little bit. What do you have, 760,000 subscribers on YouTube?
Yeah, I think, maybe.
Something like that?
About that, yeah.
Okay,
maybe
something like that.
800.
Maybe shot high.
No, we're over 800 now.
Oh, 800,000.
Yeah.
He was being humble. Okay, got it. So 800,000.
Yeah, 980
Oh, there-
on
right.
TikTok.
800,
We got
600, 900. Yeah. He's got a lot of followers, right? And what's cool about what he does is, he sells you do a lot of things, but the main hero product is an outdoor subscription box, right? And he builds it through content organically. So I'd love for you to kind of just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so, everybody for eCom, we all saw this boom post-pandemic where we all shot up. And then if I'm looking at a lot of my peers, most, went to it normalized and it was better than 2019 numbers, but it wasn't as good as the previous spike. And for us, we were fortunate. We didn't have any normalization. We stayed the same. We didn't grow during that time. We maintained, and now we're having little edges of growth. And the reality is, it's the content. That's the separator. So you look at our post-purchase survey, and 40% of our customers know about us for greater than 6 months before purchasing. Now, don't get me wrong, 20% know about us for less than a week, but 40% greater than 6 months. It's a really long time, and that's not seeing an ad every other week. That's onboarding, top of funnel, organic, and us putting that focus on. And it wasn't built overnight. Initially we had our one creator, and he was farm to table. He was the guy in front of the camera, he was the guy recording, he was the guy editing, he was the guy posting. But then we scaled it, and we got him a video editor, and then we got him another video editor, and then we got him a social poster, then another video editor, and we scaled it over 7 years. But that's part of our secret sauce. The thing about content is, those familiar with SEO, right? It's this long play, right? You're putting in all this work and you're not gonna see it for months. Content's even longer. Like, you literally have to keep going. And I remember when we launched on TikTok in early 2021, for 7 months, we just failed every day. And my team probably started to think I was a little bit crazy. But I was like, no, we're gonna be consistent. We're gonna get these little micro learnings and go again, and we're gonna keep throwing stuff at the wall. And then we popped, and we had a video get 1 million views. And then our new baseline was higher than it was previous. Then we did another piece of content, and we got 20 million views, and we were higher. Then, 35 million views. And now I think this month we've done 4 or 5 that have crossed 1 million. But it's just pushing in consistency, and you can't be so short-sighted to think, oh, it's not working immediately. Like, you have to really, really, really just leap into it.
Yeah, and then we got Bryan over here, same thing. Like your entire business is based on organic content. I mean, you have a tiny micro paid media spend, but everything you guys do. And what's interesting is if you check him out, it's Almost Pride is the Instagram handle. Like the engagement he gets on his little community that he's built there, and it's not very big, is bigger than people with 1 million followers ultimately.
Yeah.
Love to talk about that a little bit, man.
Yeah, so I've come from the gun and ammo industry where it was very restrictive, right? So I sold direct consumer ammunition for years and trying to grow in a space where you're restricted on Google, you're restricted on Meta. And I'm a firm believer that organic isn't talked about. And the reason why it's not talked about is because the only person to profit off of organic growth is the brand. There's no software companies that profit off of a brand's organic growth. There's no agencies that profit off of a brand's organic growth. Just the brand is, right? And I know Amer's gonna argue that with me, but I'm a firm believer on why organic social strategy isn't talked about on X and LinkedIn. And it's because no one makes any money off of it, right? Just the brand. So my whole thing is that's what I've been very good at is how do we grow organically and figure out a way, right? So like right now, our paid ad media percentage is 1% of revenue. And we've grown, I got there 10 months ago, we've grown 42% in 10 months with a 1% ad budget. And doing different things, right? Where like something I can share now that's in the works, we're thinking of organic content, right? Just like we do at ASOM, is just attention is your most valuable asset. As a brand, agency, SaaS company, if you don't have anyone's attention, you're never gonna win. And how do you get that attention? Do you take $1 million a month and pump it into TikTok? Or, right, which is another strategy, or, right, like we have an editor, he edits 3 to 4 clips a day for us, long form every week, and we just infiltrate every social media channel and just hammer it home in the same way that we do for Almost Pride, right? So taking that same strategy, making it so that it's impossible for someone not to see us in the space that we're in by increasing output, because a lot of times, right, we wait for perfection as a brand or as a creator where we're not gonna post this, I don't know how someone's gonna feel about this, where volume of output actually increases the quality of the output, right? So like quantity will always increase quality. It's just most people think it's the opposite. Most people think I have to wait for a piece of quality content to go out in order for me to increase the output of it. So I highly suggest investing, especially now, like money's tight, there's not a lot of cash floating around. Highly invest in organic social and thinking of different ways that is not gonna cost you an arm and a leg to give your brand attention. So one of the things, really quick story, it'll be finalized this fall. I saw an opportunity in the NIL space. In NIL, for those of you who don't know, name, image, likeness, college athletes, brands are working with the athletes. There hasn't been one done with the actual mascot or the dog. Ooh. So that was an opportunity where I approached the University of Connecticut after they won the national championship, and I said, hey, listen, I have this like kind of wild idea. I want to create the first ever mascot NIL deal, and it's just free food, right? So it's like, that's not anything for us to ask for, but there's also going to be a lot of media push behind it, right? So when you see me on ESPN in a few months, that was $0. $0 for if we put in millions of dollars into Meta, TikTok, whatever, you're not gonna get, and that's attention. So attention is everyone's most valuable asset, and it's finding different strategies in order for you to create attention without costing you an arm and a leg. And that's what I'm good at, and that's what I try to like preach on my LinkedIn and X is organic overall, but no one wants to talk about it because agencies don't make any money.
Well, first, we don't create social, so no offense taken.
Amer's building our website.
But I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. No, but quick question for everyone, because I know you guys preach to me, everyone up here. We have to be patient with organic. How long did it take you to see traction with Omas?
Oh, months and months.
And you guys just kept going, kind of like
kept going. Just like we do on the pod, right?
Yeah.
We post.
We're doing the same strategy on the pod. We're on every channel. We're posting 3-4 shorts a day. We do long form. We think about it like top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom. The funnel is to subscribe, and which is why we have, 12.9K subscribers already in 4 months. Like, we've really focused on driving people to our YouTube channel, and it's absolutely working.
Yeah. I'm going to take organic from a different lens, not social, but I'm going to talk about Google. Google's doing something interesting they haven't done in years. For probably the last 10 years, they've been adding more and more ads above the fold. Now they're introducing and testing AIOs, artificial intelligence overlays. They are on the top of the page and amongst the top 2 ads. The really interesting part here for brands that get ahead of it, Google wants to provide direct answers to whatever their searchers are asking for right on the search results page. And they want to take that from leaders, thought leaders in this space, which are brands, whether you're skincare, dog company, survival. It is going to be an incredible opportunity to get a ton of impressions, a ton of click-throughs if you can create guides and answers that are detailed that Google is going to find valuable. The tip that I can give everyone to take away is the questions that you're answering on your websites, tag them as H3s, and Google would pick them up and signal them. And if the content is good enough and people react to it, they will index your answers on their search result pages, which is going to drive tremendous amount of traffic.
That's a really good tip. And every AI out there is doing some version of it. Anyone who's on LinkedIn here, you guys have seen the questions and how you can be a top creator. All they're doing is farming your answers so they can develop their own LLM and be able to distribute this back out. So it's pretty interesting. All right. Well, look, like we've been going for a little bit here, and I got one extra one here today because I felt like...
I thought we were done.
No. We got one more. Okay, I'm going to add one more, all right? Bryan MacDonald.
Oh my God.
Hot or not? Bryan would like to consider himself the Ben Affleck of e-commerce. I think
Someone who told me today.
They
Someone
said,
told me today.
Casey Affleck.
one
They didn't
person
say
says
Ben.
this to him and unleash
You
this
told
guy.
me today. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Casey Affleck or Ben Affleck? Which one, Ben?
No, he said Ben.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said Ben. I get it once a year.
Oh man! All right.
I appreciate
Last thing here, as you guys have been, humble enough to sit here and listen to us, we want to give away a gift. One of the things that we do is we are part of a community called the Creators Combine. It's a paid community. If you'd like to come enter, we're giving away 2 seats. Thanks to Ryan Hogan here. He's looking at me like he's confused, like we didn't agree to this, but it's okay. He agreed to it. It's all good. So please, if you want to subscribe to our pod, please subscribe. We're found on YouTube. So with that, it's a wrap of the episode, guys. It's pretty clear that we're dropping the E off of e-commerce. And I think commerce is the future. And I'm pretty proud of the name of this event because we had the foresight to think like that. The reality is it was $10 domain and e-commerce was actually like $2,000. But we'll pretend that we had future insight, right?
They just need to scan the QR code.
Yeah, scan the QR code, opt in, and we'll pick a winner in about 2 weeks and we'll send an email about it. And we'll do a random generator on that. Anyone else have questions?
Why do this? Like, why are you guys making more content? It's not like you guys have tons of time.
So for me, it's fun. I enjoy it, but it keeps me sharp. And I think sometimes when I'm just, blinders on in the BattlBox brand zone, that I'm truly not looking at all the perspectives. And I think I make maybe decisions that work, but not the best decisions. And by having this different perspective of an agency and an operator and SaaS and marketing, it keeps me on my toes, and I think it improves me. And by doing so, we're sharing it and recording it so other people can get it too. So it's kind of like checks a bunch of boxes.
Yeah, there's a lot of why not. Like, I think that's the answer for me is like, hey, like we like the guys. We absolutely enjoy it. So it's fun. Usually we go to a city and we usually go to a casino because we like gambling. So we'll end up at a casino so we can get our free room because that's the comp. So it lowers our bills. And then we'll go hang out for 40 hours straight and we'll have the greatest time. And we get to talk about all the things we're talking about at the business level that you can't talk about with just about anybody else. And I think just having that group together, again, community. This is our community.
This is community.
And that's what we're hoping to continue to grow into the market because we all are doing the same thing at one level or another. It may look different at the end of the day, but the problems are the same. The stories are similar and the learnings are very much there. So.
And we also don't agree on everything.
Oh, yeah.
We bicker at each other, we fight, and then we walk out of the hotel room, casino, where we're at, and we grab a drink, we still
go to the slot
we're still
machine.
friends. And I think, in the climate that we're in today, having 4 complete different walks of life, operating completely 4 different businesses is what needs to happen a lot more. We just got to get together, talk more, and we all want the same. It's just we got to forge the path together and get there together.
Anything from you?
Not really, to be honest with you,
Okay,
Nick.
thanks.
Yeah, no, not really. It's a great time. So the 4 perspective thing is cool, right? So like each business, everyone that, whether you're in a brand, an agency, or a SaaS company, you have to consider all pieces of elements, right? Where I think it's cool to get each perspective, but then everyone up. I mean, you're talking about a guy that just built Billie Eilish's website. John was just on Netflix. Jimmy does the whole Sendlane thing, right? There's a lot of cool things that everyone did. I come from a very restrictive space, and now I'm in a manufacturing, not a lot of brands manufacture their own product anymore. So it's you get such unique perspectives on how we each handle the same issues, right? So for me, that's the best part. They're decent guys too, it makes it fun.
With that, guys, we're the Awesome Pod. I hope you enjoyed the pod. If you liked us, follow us on X, TikTok, IG, LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We're found absolutely everywhere. We're a video-first pod. One of the fun things we do, and you guys will hear about it, but we're staying here tomorrow to shoot 5 podcast episodes tomorrow all day in our hotel suite. That's what we're spending our time doing because we try to create great experiences. We believe that bringing us together brings the great experiences. So please find us on YouTube. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and that's a wrap. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talked a lot. eCom was the path that we walked a lot. But now the question is, will you subscribe or not?